Happy Friday to everybody. Then again, it's not a happy Friday to everybody, okay? Got some sports issues to get into. I got Van Jones coming on to talk about the presidential election along with some other things. And of course, there's another allegation of sexual misconduct and what have you in the world of Hollywood music or whatever it is you want to call it. And guess what? It ain't P. Diddy. It ain't even somebody that looks like P. Diddy, sound like P. Diddy. It's a little bit different. We gonna touch on it anyway. The Stephen A. Smith Show in the house. Let's get it. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the latest edition of the Stephen A. Smith Show, coming at you as I love to do over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. As always, I take a moment to thank and pay homage and gratitude to my subscribers and followers. We've now eclipsed over 872,000 subscribers on YouTube. We've got over 3 million downloads on iHeartRadio. I can't thank y'all for the love and support enough. Keep it coming. As always, like I tell you, I'm going to keep on coming. To continue to like and follow the show, just click the bell, and you too can be the newest member of the Stephen A. Smith Show family. And while you're doing that, please don't forget to take a moment to grab a copy of my New York Times best-selling book, Straight Shooter, a memoir of second chances and first takes, now in paperback. All you have to do is go to straightshooterbook.com to get yourself a copy. Once again, that's straightshooterbook.com. And once again, it is in paperback. Now, I got a bunch of things to get to. Obama is going to be on the campaign trail. I'm going to talk about that. I can't wait to talk to Van Jones about a little politics and Obama and the potential impact he could have on this election as well, along with a few other things. Some sports items to get into because there's a lot of things percolating in the world of sports, particularly the National Football League and the NBA, the National Basketball Association. So I'll be getting into some subject matters pertinent and relevant to both as well, but not before I get started here, which is with the story of another entertainer accused of sexual assault. We're not talking about P. Diddy this time around. We're talking about Garth Brooks. A lawsuit filed this week by a former hair and makeup artist accuses the 62-year-old country star of sexual assault and battery. The accuser, labeled Jane Roe, alleges the incidents took place over the course of several years while she worked for Brooks. She filed a lawsuit Thursday, which stated the country singer allegedly raped her in 2019 during a work trip. She also claims Brooks repeatedly exposed his genitals and buttocks to her, talked about sex, shared sexual fantasies, and sent sexually explicit text messages to her. The lawsuit goes on to say Brooks attempted to cover up his alleged harassment by going as far as taking her phone and deleting the messages he sent her. The country music legend has categorically and emphatically denied the allegations, saying in a statement, quote, "For the last 2 months, I have been hassled to no end with threats, lies, and tragic tales of what my future would be if I did not write a check for many millions of dollars. Hush money, no matter how much or how little, is still hush money. In my mind, that means I am admitting to behavior I am incapable of. Ugly acts no human should ever do to another. We filed suit against this person nearly a month ago to speak out against extortion and defamation of character. We filed it anonymously for the sake of families on both sides. I trust the system. I do not fear the truth, and I am not the man they have painted me to be." End quote. Let me preface what I'm going to say. First, let me get this out of the way, because with all of this going on, Brooks took the stage in Las Vegas last night, posting afterwards on Instagram, quote, "If there was ever a night that I really needed this, tonight was that night. Thank you for my life. Love, G," as in Garth. Let me say this. The first thing that I want to say is that anybody guilty of sexual assault, man, you should be under the damn jail. I'm not feeling any sympathy whatsoever for anybody who's been guilty of sexual assault. Raping a woman? Nobody should get away with that. Sexually assaulting, raping, etc. Nobody should get away with that. But that's not the reason that I wanted to tackle this subject today, because I wanted to make sure, and I want to make sure right now, I'm not attaching guilt or innocence to anything. I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't even know who Jane Roe is. Neither do any of us. Okay? So let's get that out the way. I wanted to tackle this subject for a plethora of reasons, because I wanted us to have an honest conversation about the world that we're living in today, because I want you to understand that if you are innocent, if he is innocent, you should love what Garth Brooks did with that statement. He emphatically proclaimed his innocence. He talked about things being lied. He talked about not caving into extortion. He also highlighted hush money and the negative elements that come along with that. Because if you pay off hush money, he is right. Chances are there's going to be an abundance of people out there who attach guilt to you, whether you're guilty or not. Now, again, I don't know anything about this story other than what we've read. And I'm certainly not casting any aspersions on the accuser. I mean, the society that we live in today, I've got my high school daughters coming home to me telling me, Daddy, always believe the accuser. Because that's what is being taught in school in this day and age. And you can't knock it, because a lot of times folks are right when they are accusing somebody else. And we can't ignore that. But we also can't ignore the potentially innocent who have been accused, who are in the public spotlight, who are rich or, dare I say, wealthy, who have allegations levied against them. Now, you have to understand something. This ain't the P. Diddy situation. For those out there, particularly in the black community, that were clamoring for me to talk about Garth Brooks because you talked about P. Diddy, how come you ain't gonna talk about the white dude? Stop. Homeland Security raided the homes of Diddy in Miami and Los Angeles. The feds arrested him and indicted him. He is in a Brooklyn jail, one of the most notorious prisons in America, denied bail not once but twice, and on the verge of getting it denied a third time, according to legal analysts all over the country. That is not the same as Garth Brooks being accused of something by a former employee of his, upon which he's categorically denying those allegations. There have been no arrest. There is no incarceration. There's nothing like that going on. It doesn't involve the feds. So stop trying to compare one to the other, because folks in our society, not all, not most, but several, tend to do that from time to time for the wrong reasons, as opposed to looking at the preponderance of evidence against somebody. Remember, we also have allegations against Garth Brooks. We got a video against Diddy that somewhat mirrors the subsequent allegations that were thrown in his direction in the aftermath of us seeing that video. He also had previously lied about such an incident happening until the video came out and exposed it. Then he did a mea culpa and an apology over social media in the immediate aftermath of it, saying, yo, I was fucked up. Remember that? I'm quoting, I ain't cussing. That's what he said. That's not what's going on here with Garth Brooks. What's going on with Garth Brooks is that he's been accused of very heinous acts. His response is to highlight that there was an attempt to extort money from him. And it has been going on for the last couple of months. And that he will not cave into it, because if he were to do so, it would give the impression that he is guilty of some of these things, if not all of them, upon which he's being accused of. And he's saying he ain't having that. And I'm saying, if and only if he is innocent of what he is being accused of, it's a bit refreshing to hear somebody come out and defend themselves. I don't advise it under most circumstances. I say let people talk all the nonsense they want to talk, because there's nothing you can do about rumors and innuendo and stuff that people want to put out there about you. There's nothing you can do. You got to just take it. But he's saying there's certain things you can't take. There's certain things you can't take at all. And I'm saying, if you're innocent, not all the time, not even most times, but sometimes, his actions, since those allegations became public, are what you'd like to see. Now we have to see how things fall out and go from there. But it is not the same as P. Diddy. Those are two completely different cases, different scenarios. Let's remember that. For all of those people that have been blowing up stuff on social media and texts and emails and tweets, all of that stuff, Garth Brooks, P. Diddy, ain't in the same stratosphere at this particular moment in time, based on the circumstances Diddy is facing compared to the accusations that have been levied against Garth Brooks. P. Diddy is in prison. Garth Brooks was in Vegas, on stage, performing in front of thousands who paid to see him. You can't even pay to see P. Diddy right now. The government won't let you. And remember, he offered them $50 million just so he didn't have to be there. And they said, keep your money. Stay your ass right here. Those are the facts. For the moment, those are the facts. Coming up, CNN political analyst Van Jones joins the show. We'll get into the race for the White House, Obama getting involved, and more. That's next, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, over the digital airwaves of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Back for more in a minute. Okay, everybody, you know what time it is, right? It's time for Stephen A.'s Weekly Sports Picks. In case you didn't already know, I've teamed up with Prize Picks to bring you my favorite picks on every big-time game or sporting event. You see, Prize Picks is a skill-based, real money daily fantasy sports game where you select two or more players and predict if they'll have more or less on their projected stats for the game or contest. It's not only super exciting, but incredibly easy to play and takes only 60 seconds to make your picks. That's less time than it takes for Aaron Judge to hit a big-time home run and circle a bases, for crying out loud. Pick the stats for Saquon Barkley, Shohei Ohtani, or Coco Gauff, and then sit back and watch. And get this, sign up with code SAS and Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on Prize Picks and you'll get $50 instantly. Now, let's see my winning picks. Today, I'll be making picks for this weekend's UFC event. First up, Brazilian middleweight, Cesar Almeida. More or less than 34 and a half strikes, significant strikes. I've seen this brother. He's got some skills. He definitely likes to swing. I'm going to go with more on this one. This ain't that damn hard. He might have it in the first round, for crying out loud. Bantamweight fighter Mario Batista going up against Jose Aldo. More or less than 65 and a half significant strikes. For some reason, I think this is going to end quickly. that's the only reason I'm saying less here. I know they both like to swing too, but I'm saying less because I just got this feeling that this is going to end relatively quickly. It's going to end relatively quickly. Next up, middleweight fighter Kevin Holland. I've seen him. He's got some skills. More or less than 52 and a half significant strikes. Like I just told you, the brother's got skills. I'm not denying that. I don't know if he's going to end it in the first round or anything like that. So I'm going to go with more on this one when it comes to Holland. And last but not least, light heavyweight champion of the world, Alex Pereira. More or less than 40 and a half significant strikes. I love this brother. I really, really do. Have you seen this kid Roundtree he's about to go up against? Monster. Incredible power. Incredible power. And I saw Adesanya knock out Pereira before, even though Pereira had beaten him like the previous 3 times. What I'm trying to say is that I see this ending early, one way or another, before somebody's able to get 40 and a half significant strikes. So I'm going to go with less on this particular one. That's less. I usually don't say less when it comes to prospects, but hey, certain times call for certain measures. Welcome back to the Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Before I get to my next guest, it is apropos to bring up some news, and it's not necessarily breaking news because I've seen it all over the airwaves over the last few hours. Former President Barack Obama is set to hit the campaign trail on behalf of Democratic nominee for the presidency of the United States, the one and only Kamala Harris. The former president will campaign for Vice President Harris in battleground states during the final 27 days until Election Day. His first event is scheduled for this Thursday in Pittsburgh. For those of you who don't know, just a little nugget of information. Democrats are considered to be in tight races in the state of Michigan, Maryland, and Florida. So they're releasing ads on Friday featuring Obama as well. Right there. So you can't ignore that. And obviously, when we're talking about President Obama, one of the most popular presidents in history, you can't ignore the fact that from a fundraising standpoint, the man is big time. Already with fundraising content and events featuring Obama, he's been able to raise $76 million in the 2024 presidential campaign, according to his office. So we have to give credit where credit is due in that regard. According to Obama's senior advisor, Eric Schultz, he told Fox News, CNN, and others, quote, President Obama believes the stakes of this election could not be more consequential. And that is why he is doing everything he can to help elect Vice President Harris, Governor Walz, and Democrats across the country, Schultz said. He continues by saying his goals are to win the White House, keep the U.S. Senate, and take back the House of Representatives. Now that voting has begun, our focus is on persuading and mobilizing voters, especially in states with key races. Many of these races are likely to go down to the wire, and nothing should be taken for granted. Let me give you my take before we get into our next guest, who will be Van Jones. Number one, I'm not going to apologize for saying I wish Michelle Obama was running. I think the former First Lady of the United States, far as I'm concerned, the greatest First Lady who ever lived. I think she's phenomenal. I think her speech at the Democratic National Convention was phenomenal. I think she's an incredible figure. Very, very powerful, very influential. And I wish she was running. Not to knock Kamala Harris in any way, but I just wish Michelle Obama, I think it would be a landslide. Donald Trump would have no chance going up against Michelle Obama. That's number one. That's my personal opinion. Number two, I'm not sure how much help Barack Obama is going to be. Somebody's got to say it, so I'm going to say it. Now, I don't have the specific numbers in front of me. I've given them to you in the past. If you want me to, I can give them to you again. No one's here questioning the popularity of President Obama. We knew he was the real deal. But that's when it came to him. Senate seats, congressional seats, gubernatorial races, the judiciary. I mean, he lost a ton of seats for the Democrats while he was in office. He campaigned for Hillary. She lost. In 2020, we all know that it wasn't about Biden. It was about 81 million people voting against Trump. And one could easily make the argument right now that if Kamala Harris wins, it's because that many more people want Trump to lose. Because in so many people's eyes, he's just too trifling to see back in the White House. So it's going to be real interesting to talk to Van Jones about this kind of stuff because I really want to hear his opinion about this. I respect him, but in the same breath, I'm not blind. Obama's going to go on the campaign trail. Why is he going on the campaign trail? You know why he's going on the campaign trail? Because polls, as well as pundits and surrogates, are openly acknowledging that Kamala Harris has a problem with the black vote. It's not on lock. That there's a growing number of black folks in this country that are looking at Trump. Not evenly compared to Kamala Harris, but enough to potentially sway the election or tilt the scales one way or another. The man gets 15, 16% of the black vote. She's got a problem. Now, he's got his own problems because Kamala Harris is very dominant with women. No doubt the overturning of Roe v. Wade has a lot to do with that. But when it comes down to Obama, you're talking about black folks and you're talking about young folks. The young folks. Do you really, really look at Kamala Harris as the answer? It's a question. Nobody's being presumptuous here. Nobody's making any accusations. I'm simply asking. But I will also say this. Regardless of how out of pocket or off kilter he sounds, Trump's everywhere. She's had rallies. She's had campaign stops. But those interviews, being able to walk into the lion's den, answer questions about her record with the Biden administration, which is still in office, by the way. We've got Israel and Hamas and Hezbollah. You got Iran in the mix now. You got people walking around fearing World War III is en route. You know about Russia, Ukraine? They're fearing stuff on that end. We got a hurricane disaster took place throughout the states in the South, particularly the state of North Carolina. We got private citizens involved in search and rescue missions with people saying, where has the National Guard been? It's got a whole bunch of stuff going on. Biden is in office right now. Kamala Harris is in office right now. Something worth thinking about. Can't wait to talk to my next guest about this. My next guest is an Emmy Award winner, a CNN political analyst, a media personality, lawyer, and a 3-time New York Times best-selling author. He's been a leader in criminal justice reform and is now working in the emerging world of AI technology. Please welcome the one, the only, Mr. Van Jones to the Stephen A. Smith Show. What's up, big time? How are you, man? How have you been?
Man, it's nothing but good stuff in my life, and it's an honor to be with you, brother.
Man, it's always an honor to be with you. Talk to me about your life for a second. At this particular moment in time, how is life for you? What have you been doing, and what has it been like for you to be covering politics in this day and age, this particular year?
It's a rough year. I mean, my life is good. I have 4 kids. They're all thriving and growing. I've got 2 big kids, one in college, one in high school from my first marriage. And now I've got these 2 little ones, both in diapers. And it gives you a lot of perspective, but also a lot to worry about because I'm very concerned about the direction of this election. I am not confident that we're doing the things we need to do as Democrats to get across the finish line. And there's stuff we can't talk about. I think a lot of African-American men are not happy, not due to sexism, but just feeling that what is being spoken for us. I see a lot of brothers are in pain and won't speak about it. The feminist culture says, shut up, you're toxic, you're part of the problem anyway. The masculinist culture says, shut up and take it because boys don't cry. And so you got an unspoken epidemic of pain in the Black male community, especially non-college Black men. And so far, it's either from the right wing, blame the immigrants, or from the left wing, really just shut up and vote. And I think it's not working. I'm very concerned.
When you talk about the concerns for the Black male vote, and I appreciate you saying that because I mirror your sentiments wholeheartedly, I must ask you specifically, what do you think the Black males are, what's most bothersome to us at this
Yeah.
particular moment in time when you say you're concerned about the things that ail us, the things that bother us? What is it that you think specifically it is as this election approaches?
I think that there's a unspoken wounded pride in the hearts of a lot of brothers. It's hard to provide for our families, and you often feel disappointed in yourself. You feel, maybe you're coming up short, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of empathy, or sympathy, or strong encouragement, or even acknowledgement of what we're going through. They might throw something at us about criminal justice reform. As you know, I'm a big proponent of that. Might throw something at us about police misconduct, which nothing has been done about that anyway. But we need business loans. We want to be owners. We want to be entrepreneurs. We want to be able to put our shoulders back. We want to be able to be heads of household. And to the extent that that is almost considered out of date or out of fashion or sexist to even want that for yourself, it makes it very, very difficult. And like I said, I think that Kamala Harris in particular has a huge opportunity just to do a barbershop tour and just be seen showing up, listening to brothers, talking with brothers, really hearing, especially from Black fathers who are really trying our best to navigate a tough culture for ourselves and our children. I just feel that there's a need for some love and some honor and some respect and some appreciation for what we go through. And that just does not seem to be popular right now in either party, honestly.
Hasn't that always been the case when it comes to us, though? I mean,
Well,
for
yeah.
many years. I mean, when has that not been the case for us, Van?
You may be correct. I think maybe we were able to project a little bit more when we had Obama in the batter's box, and felt like
Right.
by people honoring Obama that we were getting some kind of honor out of that. Yeah, look, I think brothers want to feel respected. I think we want to feel appreciated, even if we're coming up short. We still want to feel respected. We want to feel that people believe in us, that they're pulling for us. They want us to be good. We would, just shut up and vote. How could you possibly not vote? Yeah, it just feels, I think, like we're missing opportunities. For instance, the Small Business Administration could do a lot more to get loans to Black folks. We could be doing a lot more to lift up mentorship programs, because there are a lot of brothers out here who are doing well, maybe not as well as some of our white peers, but we're doing well. We need some support sometimes of reaching back to the young people. I would love to see any politician actually act like they love us. Like, we need some love. We need some appreciation. We need some help. And no Black man's going to say that. We're gonna bark, or we're gonna be quiet. But the reality is, we're 30 days from this election, and I still don't know, does anybody care about us? I mean, I know that Kamala does because I know Kamala. But I'm talking about the campaign.
Before we get into your work and some of the marvelous things that you're doing, it was announced that former President Barack Obama will be hitting the campaign trail for the Harris Walls ticket, of course. Do you think he'll help close the gap she has been having, in terms of attracting Black men, the kind of Black men that you just alluded to? What do you think he'll do for that?
Hey, look, I think Barack Obama is magical. I think people write him off. Oh, they don't, he's past tense, he's out of touch or whatever. And then he starts talking. And then the people that, oh, I remember this guy. Like, oh, shit, okay,
Right.
all right, So I think he can only do good, and I think that I think people need to see him. Look, a lot of the greats, whether you're talking about Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Oprah Winfrey, or whatever, some of the great, they weren't just they were pillars for American society. They represented, they were holding a torch that's been passed down for generations and generations of greatness, of excellence, of grace, of strength, of dignity. And I was glad to see Oprah Winfrey jump into the chat. I'd love to see Barack Obama.
Mm.
I'd love to see Michelle Obama, because it's not just good for Kamala Harris's campaign. It's good for the human soul to see people like that standing up and taking a position that says we need to go forward and not backwards. So I think Barack Obama coming into the scene, it will only do good.
See, I don't know if that's true. I hope it is, and I believe in
Hmm.
him. And I believe
Hmm.
most of America loves him, reveres him, believes in him. But do they believe in some of his contemporaries on the left is a legitimate question. I know on
Yes.
this side of the fence, it's no way in hell I'm supporting Trump. I can promise you that. But
Hmm.
having said all of that, as a political pundit talking about you and the exceptional work that you've done over the years, I wonder, how are you feeling? I know you know Kamala Harris. I'm not talking
Yes.
about the person, because I
Hmm.
know you know her, and I know that you wouldn't support somebody you didn't respect and you didn't believe in. So I'm
Absolutely.
going to trust you on that. But I'm saying to you, in terms of Kamala Harris, the candidate, how do you feel about the job she has been doing? Because, Van, I'm on the record. I don't like the fact that, these rallies have been replacing interviews and stuff. I think she needs to go into the lion's den and show folks what she's made of, because she's got it. She's got the track record. She's a vice president, former senator, former attorney general, former district attorney. She's got the track record, especially going up against him. She should be able to march into any place and let her thoughts and her perspectives speak for itself. And I don't think she's done enough of that. What about you, Van?
Hey, look, I agree, and I agree because I have so much confidence in her. She whooped Donald Trump so bad it looked like elder abuse. If you can handle Donald Trump for 90 minutes, you can handle any of us for 7 minutes. So
Right.
I think that also when you don't do a lot of interviews, and each interview becomes more and more important. Whereas if you're like Donald Trump and JD Vance, if you do 10 interviews a day, even if you mess them up, but the volume of communication makes up for any missteps and mistakes. And you and I both know you can't be on TV as much as you and I are without stumbling over your words or saying something that's not accurate,
Yeah,
or getting
sure.
upset and wish you could take it back.
Right.
That's just life in this modern era. And
Mhm.
so from my point of view, and I posted about this already. I posted a thing and went super viral, said free Kamala Harris. Let this woman talk. She should talk to right wingers, left wingers, little people, big people. She could get on a little podcast with elementary school students. She should be on Meet the Press, because she would when you the more people see her, the more they like her. She doesn't always, she can get into word
Mhm.
salad and she can sometimes misspeak, but so
Right.
can I. But the more it's been shown, the more they see her, the more they like her. The more they get to know her, the more they like her. So I think they're, and the other thing is, which I think is a mistake, is they also have been hiding Coach Waltz. Coach Waltz got the
Right.
position to be the VP to her by being on TV all the time
Mhm.
and giving great interviews and calling folks weird and being relatable.
Right.
After the convention, they put him in the refrigerator, and you didn't see him again until the debate.
Fair enough, Van. But was he the right choice instead of Shapiro out of Pennsylvania?
We'll know in about 35 days. Um, Look,
Great answer. Great answer.
we'll,
Great
we'll know
answer.
in 35 days.
It's not just black. We brought up the issue. You brought up the issue of black males, and that's obviously a vote that she needs to attract more, so more as well. She needs to do interviews. We talked about that. Show herself, show who she is and what she's made of, without question. There's another thing that she has. Another problem that she has. She has a problem with the unions. I mean, I'm just reading from some notes here. You got some union leaders that back up, but many workers have backed Trump. You've got the Teamsters and the firefighters choosing not to support either candidate. They're the backbone of the middle class in a lot of people's eyes. What can she do to address that issue?
This is a bizarre thing because really the Biden Harris administration has been so pro union, it's actually chased out of the party some of the billionaires in Silicon Valley who used to support us. Don't forget, Elon Musk in 2020 was backing Andrew Yang, a Democrat, and he was backing him
Yeah.
to the hilt. Biden Harris has been so pro union that some people in the tech world see them as being anti-innovation, anti-corporate, and anti-rich. And so you have not had, I mean, there's no more that she could have done or he could have done to support labor. And, the Teamsters, They rescued them financially. Biden has walked on the picket line. So the fact that there's still this undertow where major unions are backing away or staying neutral, or staying up in the bleachers and not getting down here on the court, is something I don't blame on Kamala Harris. There's something bigger going on here because Biden by himself has been more pro-union than any president since FDR.
One of the other things that I point to when I look at her and her situation right now, they've gotten on her about flip-flopping, whether it's fracking, whether it's the border, whether, it's healthcare. They've gotten on her about that. And I'm wondering about your thoughts on that. But I also look at her from the standpoint where I look at these wars going on, Ukraine and Russia. We know what's happening with Hezbollah and Hamas and Israel, and now Iran is into the mix and what have you. This is what I've said publicly, Van. Donald Trump, who's a master at one-liners, a master at throwing insults, and a master at utilizing that to distract you from the real substantive stuff that we should be discussing, he'll sit up there and, dare I say, get a bit misogynistic, to use that word. He'll sit up there and say, hey, look, I'm everywhere. Look at the interviews that I'm doing. Look at the questions that I answer. I'm not running from anything. But where is she at on these issues? You see, do you really trust that she'll be strong enough to handle these issues? These are tacit things that he could potentially use to his advantage. And you know this significantly better than me. Just because we haven't heard much of it yet. It's October now. Over the next few weeks before the election, you're going to see a tsunami of stuff coming down the pike, particularly as people get ready to go to the polls.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts or concerns about that?
Well, look, I mean, the one thing that Kamala Harris has that Donald Trump doesn't have is strength. Donald Trump is a blowhard. He's a bully, but he's not. I mean, he presents as strong, but a strong man would be able to say, you know what? We came up short in the last election. We're going to get it in this election. Here's what I've learned. Here's how we're going to improve. So whereas Kamala Harris, look, I voted for Kamala Harris for district attorney back when I was a young guy living in San Francisco. I voted for her for attorney general, senator, vice president, and we'll vote for her for president. The one thing she is tough. She is tough as nails. Putin should be very nervous that she's president because she's no pushover at all. But to your point, she's got to be out there. Now on the flip-flop thing, I'm glad you raised fracking because this is one of the stupidest sound bites from the right that I've heard. They say, well, she's against fracking. Well, for 4 years, fracking has gone up in America, not down. Natural gas production has gone up in America, not down under Biden-Harris. Oil production has gone up and not down under Biden-Harris, even as they've been building out the green infrastructure and the electric vehicles and all that sort of stuff, which will let you know that there's something that the right wing is missing. What are they missing? The entire party shut up attacking fracking 4 years ago. The entire party has had nothing to say. It's not just Kamala Harris. Why? Because liquid natural gas is a geopolitical weapon against Putin. Putin, who controls all the gas in Europe, said when the Ukraine war started, he was going to cut off all the gas and freeze Europeans in their beds. And the United States of America under Biden-Harris said, no, you're not. And we sent liquid natural gas to Europe and saved Europe, kept the coalition together. How could we do that? Because of fracking in Pennsylvania. So the idea that for 4 years, Democrats have not gone against fracking. We built up the green stuff. We've actually gone up on fracking, that we need this to stop Putin, but suddenly, somehow, Kamala Harris is going to change her mind and go in a different direction. The whole party matured on fracking. The whole party matured away from stupid stuff like defund the police. The whole party has matured over the past 4 years. That's not flip-flopping. That's a party trying to govern and getting away from dumb ideas and embracing good ideas. And, so I wish that she would just come out and say stuff like that because, I think what I'm saying makes sense to people. They think about it.
Let me go to the debates for a quick second, Van Jones. Number one, I want to know how you felt about the vice presidential debate early this week. But number two, I want to know how you felt about the moderating that took place during the debates, since that became such a big story as well. Your thoughts on both?
Kamala whooped Trump mercilessly. J.D. Vance did what everybody who went to Yale Law School, and as a Yale Law School graduate, I could tell you, he pulled every slick trick that we get taught so he could lie and look like he wasn't. And we get taught, literally trained at Yale Law School to do what he did. So I was literally there watching every slick trick that he was pulling out. But the reality is, he lied the whole time. He lied and said that Trump saved Obamacare. He lied and said U.S. energy production was down when it's up. He lied about issue after issue, and but he was smooth. He was slick. He looked confident. Meanwhile, Coach Waltz, everything he said was true, but he looked nervous and scared, and he was out of breath, and he was looking all around. And so a lot of people just, you know what I mean? So he looked like Chris Farley up there. So that didn't work. And so luckily he didn't have to debate again. But people sometimes grade you more on style than substance. So I think that on the style, JD Vance won convincingly. On the substance, I'll quote LL Cool J. He lied about the lies that he lied about. But moderating is hard. I've never had to moderate a debate. We do it here at CNN quite a bit. Dana Bash and Anderson and Jake. I've never had to do it. I know they spend a whole week preparing, trying to figure it out and think about every potential answer to every question and all that kind of stuff. What I will say is that if you're Donald Trump and you have been president of the United States and you're crying about some moderators, again, you're not strong. You're not strong. Yes, maybe you'll get in a situation where a couple of countries don't like you. You're gonna cry. Is that what you're gonna do? So Donald Trump is not strong. He's only a weak man would lie that much, couldn't accept defeat, calls people names. Kamala Harris is, and it showed once you put them face to face. Now, once you put them face to face, it was obvious who's the strong one, who's the weak one. She walked right over to him, shook his hand. He looked like a little schoolboy getting chastised by the principal, and then she whooped him for 90 minutes. So this idea of strength versus weakness is a false issue.
I want to go back to Yale University, man. I want you to tell on your alma mater, man. I want you to tell on your alma mater. I mean, this is what they teach you. I want you to elaborate on that. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want to improve their debate skills. I ain't saying any names. But there's a lot of people out there want to improve their debate skills, Van Jones. I mean, what is it that they teach y'all at Yale that J.D. Vance exercised with such fluidity? I mean, inquiring minds want to know.
Well, one of the things that they teach you is to moderate your voice so that you always seem like you're the person who's in command and in control. That you really, there's a lot of emphasis, about basically just breath control. Some of this stuff is just psychological, and so if so, the other thing that they do is you concede. So you saw he kept doing things like, "I agree with you. I agree with you." That's disarming. But then he would say, "I agree with you," and then turn around and say something that's completely false. But in the mind of a juror, if somebody is willing to concede this point, that makes you look more honest and trustworthy. So then your next point is such a strong act of character to agree with your opponent. So then the juror is going to think, well, the next point is probably accurate as well. This is a high integrity person. But if you combine the two, concede something that doesn't matter and then lie about something that does, you can convince a jury of anything. So he was literally just working the jury with tried and true slick tactics that, I'm sitting there just banging my head against the table because if you know what's going on, you recognize this is a sign that this person's argument is extremely weak. It's extremely weak. That you would, when you see someone again concede something that is not important and then lie about something that is important. And from how I was trained, then you directly, now they've signaled to you where they're weak. So when he's lying about healthcare, he's weak. When he's lying about energy policy, he's weak. So he's showing you where his weakness is, but Waltz is not a skilled enough debater to recognize that's exactly when you go on the attack.
Before I let you get on out of here, I want to transition to you for a quick second because very proud of you over the years of the job that you've done. And I consider you a conscientious brother, somebody whose heart is consistently in the right place. And, whether we agree or disagree with a Van Jones, we're never going to look at him and say he doesn't care. He doesn't know what he's talking about. We get that from you. I want to get to your work in AI. For the folks that may not get it, explain it and
Yeah.
why we should all embrace it. I want to talk about that for a second for you because it's one of the
Yeah.
things that I believe you're attempting to do just to give back. That's how I
Yes.
view it. That's how I view it.
Yes. Look, I told you I got 4 kids. The 2 little ones, both in diapers, they're going to grow up in a different human civilization than you and I grew up in. Why do I say that? My little girl, she's 2 years old. Her first crush in 10 years may well be an AI. May well be an AI. My little guy, his best friend when he's 5 or 6 years old, may be an AI. That's different than what you and I grew up with. Technology is moving to the point when it comes to biotechnology, when it's time for them to give us grandchildren, they might literally open up a laptop or a holographic interface and use bio tools to design my grandchildren. This is not 1,000 years from now. This is the kids I'm raising in my house today. God forbid, 80, 90 years from now, 100 years from now, when they're buried, my children, your children may be buried on the moon or on Mars because we'll be a fully spacefaring civilization by the time you get 89 years out from now. Now, if there's going to be a new human civilization that our children are growing up in, the question we got to ask is it going to be human and is it going to be civilized? We're going to have these godlike powers around cognition and genetics, but are we godly? Do we have any ethics or any morals with what we're doing? So I don't think that African American parents can stand back and not participate in what's going on with AI, and it doesn't have to all be negative. I think this is the first opportunity that I've seen, and I'm working with will.i.am and using money that we got from Bezos to build a campaign called Make Wakanda Real. Make Wakanda Real. Anybody knows the superhero universe?
Black
Wakanda
Panther.
is an
Yeah, right.
exactly. It's an African nation where they use technology better than anybody on planet Earth. They are the leading technological superpower. I'm saying Atlanta should be Wakanda. Detroit, Chicago should be Wakanda. Why? Van Jones, you're crazy. 99% of black kids ain't thinking about AI. 99% of black kids don't know anything about AI. You are correct. And 99% of white kids aren't either. 99% of white kids don't know it either. It's brand new. It's brand new. So that's called equality. For the first time, our kids are even Steven with everybody else's kids on planet Earth. We are all equally ignorant of all this new technology. Now, black folks are good with technology. Please, we're the most creative people in the world. We took 2 turntables and a microphone, that technology, 2 turntables and a microphone, plugged it into a street light, and created hip hop music, which is the dominant cultural force on the planet. Now, you're going to take the same community with the same deficits, the same challenges, the same creativity, the same magic, and the same need. And now it's not 2 turntables and a microphone. You're talking about ChatGPT. You're talking about Rally. You're talking about Midjourney. You're talking about free apps that can make whatever you're doing, you can do it better. You can do it faster. You can do it quicker. You can do it cheaper. We should take over. This is the time that they may not give us reparations. They just gave us those 5 apps and they're free. I believe it's not a hardware problem. Everybody's got the same smartphones. It ain't a software problem. Anybody can download those apps. It's not hardware. It's not software. It's wetware. Do you have a mindset that says something brand new on the earth, I can grab and I can beat my neighbors, I can beat my classmates, I can beat anybody to the punch and go. We should be encouraging our black kids to be playing not video games. You can play some video games, but play with these apps. Play with these apps. Show me. It's Saturday morning, Saturday night. Show me what you made with these apps, and these kids are gonna go crazy because it's so intuitive. ChatGPT makes you think faster. Midjourney is one of the apps that lets you create art with just words. Just say, hey, make me this, draw me this, draw me that. Runway, you can do presentations. Suno, you can literally just tell Suno, write me a song about Stephen A. Smith. I want it to be in country music. I want you to mention his mother's name. I want you to mention his height and something about basketball. And in 40 seconds, the whole song is not just written. You can hit play. Which means our creative, super imaginative, super magical young people now have a Harry Potter's magic wand in their hand for free on the phone they already got. So this is why I'm so passionate about it, and will.i.am and I are so passionate about it. We could see our young people just outstripping the world, and then using it for good, using it for justice, using it. These people talk about they're going to disrupt everything. With AI, will disrupt everything. Wonderful. Can you disrupt poverty? Can you disrupt
Yeah.
prisons? Can you disrupt
How
pollution?
about that?
Can you disrupt
Yeah.
polarization? Well, since you're not going to, we are. Since you're not going to, we're going to take the same tools and make the world better, which is what we always do. So I am very, very passionate about closing this gap between AI, quantum computing, biotech, all that stuff, and the Black community. The status quo is not serving us anyway. So if you're going to disrupt every industry, good. You said you're going to disrupt every industry, good, because they were leaving us out anyway. So all this could be something that is to our benefit.
And this is why you created the Dream Machine AI Academy Innovation Lab, correct?
Yes, sir. And we were very, very lucky to get a chance to partner with John Hope Bryant and also with the cats at Earn Your Leisure. We went to Atlanta twice at the Invest Fest. They had 50,000 people there, African Americans learning about business. We got a chance to run the whole AI learning track with thousands and thousands of African Americans. And then they walked in skeptical and they walked out like pumped. Because all of a sudden, I'm not gonna have to pay for this. I'm not gonna have to pay for that. I can get all that stuff for free. I can make this business plan in 3 minutes. I can make this presentation in 5 minutes. People were literally almost doing cartwheels out of there. And so I believe if we could turn Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit into our own Wakandas, if every little Black business and Black church and Black community organization grabbed all these tools, I don't think there's anybody could stop.
Now, you did, before I let you get on out of here, you've worked with several hip hop artists. I'm curious to know your thoughts on the state of the industry, especially in light of the indictment of Sean P. Diddy Combs, with all the things that you're talking about, with all the change that ultimately could be made. One of the reasons that I have to bring that up is because we get so caught up in those salacious headlines and all the things that have transpired. I'm wondering, as you sit here and talk about the things that you talk about, are you fearful that people are not paying enough attention to that because of the kind of stuff we've been compelled to pay attention to? And I bring up Diddy because that was the latest in terms of what has transpired. And I know that you're familiar to some degree with the hip hop industry. Your thoughts about all of that?
Look, I think we have to fear weapons of mass distraction as Black parents.
Yeah.
Weapons of mass distraction. First of all, there are people in the hip hop industry, like for instance, Jay-Z, who I got a chance to work with to launch the Reform Alliance, Meek Mill and others, that is right now helping people behind bars. And so there are people who are doing positive things. They should be lifted up. But as I look at the world, I think we leave a lot of good undone. We leave a lot of talent and genius unleveraged. I think hip hop can be and should be a force for good. I was born in '68, so I remember, poor righteous teachers. I remember Wu-Tang. I remember Brand Nubian. I remember, names that people have forgotten when hip hop was really out here, out competing with CNN in terms of telling the truth and letting people know what was going on. Public Enemy. So I come out of that generation where hip hop was a weapon and a tool for the liberation of our people. It became something else, but even though it has become something else, there are still people in hip hop who are doing a good job. The ones that are doing a bad job, that's for God and the courts to work out. So the ones who are doing a good job, like Jay-Z, Meek Mill, and others, need to be lifted up.
Van Jones, you keep doing a great job your damn self, okay? Okay,
Thank
I'm
you,
real
sir.
proud of you, happy for you. Keep doing your thing, and I look forward to seeing you down the road, especially as the election draws near. And feel free to come back anytime you want, man. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you let me say everything I have to say. A lot of times on CNN, we're busy fighting each other. I don't get a chance to get my point across as much as I want to. So this is good for me. Hopefully let me come back.
Absolutely. You ain't got to worry about it being edited out either. Every word you said is going to be right here. So thank you so much, my man. You take it easy, all right? You take care.
Thank you, brother. Be continued.
One and only Van Jones, analyst extraordinaire for CNN, right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, over the digital airways of YouTube and, of course, iHeartRadio. Coming up, NFL Week 5 kicked off last night. I'll take a look at some key matchups this upcoming weekend. Plus, the newest Knick, Karl Anthony-Towns, declares who he thinks is the greatest NBA player of all time. Oh, Lord. I'll get into all of that and more right here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, YouTube style, and iHeartRadio. Back with more in a minute. Have you heard? Here at the Stephen A. Smith Show, we've teamed up with Prize Picks to help all you sports fans become a part of the big-time game action. It doesn't matter if it's the NFL's regular season, the MLB playoffs, or the WNBA championship. Prize Picks has got you covered. You see, Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app where you can pick 2 or more of your favorite players, and then you simply select more or less on their projected stats for the game. And you can mix and match players from all your favorite sports. Pick a player's rushing yards, another player's rebounds, and another's total hits, all in the same entry. I make my picks and submit early, all in less than 60 seconds. That's less time than it takes for Derrick Henry to take the rock all the way to the house. And get this, sign up with code SAS and Prize Picks will give you $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. You don't need to win your lineup to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. All you have to do is play a $5 lineup on Prize Picks and you'll get $50 instantly. Pick more, pick less. It's really, really that easy. Welcome back to Stephen A. Smith Show right here over the digital airways of YouTube and iHeartRadio. We all know the New York Knicks are my favorite NBA franchise. They ain't no damn surprise. Well, the newest member of the New York Knicks, Mr. Karl Anthony-Towns, was lured, hoodwinked, bamboozled into the GOAT debate by that damn insane LeBron fawning dude himself, the one and only Shannon Sharp on Club Shay Shay with his Benedict on. Ooh, he gets on my damn nerves with his GOAT, LeBron loving self. Look at Shay Shay just coaxing Karl Anthony-Towns into this conversation. Talk about leading the witness. Listen to this.
Who's Karl Anthony-Towns' GOAT?
Like I said, I'm always going to speak what I see with my own 2 eyes.
Okay.
I can't speak for everything. I wouldn't be able to. But man, that man Bron different. That man Bron's something special. So Bron's the best player we've ever seen, talent-wise. Mm-hmm. I think he's the best player. You could now, if you want to get caught up in chips and rings and all that stuff, that's up to people to debate. But when we just talk about pure talent, intangible size, like to be the best basketball player, you got to have all these different things. Mm-hmm. And look how he's done it with the scrutiny, the criticism, and everything. I mean, right. Bron's the best player. We've seen both hands. Now he's developed that 3-point shot really well. Defended at a high level for all those years. Athleticism was, I don't know. The best you got in the NFL, I don't know, could still jump as high as he was doing it. The way he was doing it. Speed, all that. Like, competitiveness, got the wins. Bron is the best basketball player we've ever seen, talent-wise. Just straight off the rip, he's the best player.
Oh, I mean, that damn Shay Shay. See, it's an instigating stuff. I see what you're trying to do, Shay Shay. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work, Shannon Sharp. You can try that nonsense all you want to. You can line up Karl Anthony-Towns. Go get one of my members, one of my New York Knicks, all right? One of my New York Knicks. Who you hate on. You're going to get one of my peeps now. One of my peeps. Wearing orange and blue skies, baby. Orange and blue skies. You're going to get one of them to say that about your man, LeBron James. You ain't being slick. You ain't going to get away with it. Every time you do something like that on Shay Shay, on Club Shay Shay, I'm going to be on it. You ain't getting away with it. 6 championships, not a single loss, okay? A 10-time scoring champion, a 9-time all-first team, all-defensive player, and you going to get some brother. I love you, Karl Anthony-Towns. You know that. I love you, especially now that you're a New York Knicks, but you're still wet behind the ears. Your breath smelling like Similac, okay? You're 28 years old. Do y'all know that Karl Anthony-Towns was born in 1995? MJ had 4 rings by then. You understand what I'm saying? What's his birthday? I'm looking at November 15th, 1995. MJ had 4 rings. At the time that Karl Anthony-Towns was born, you understand? Before he sat up there and was sucking on a bottle, before he crawled, before he walked, before he dribbled a basketball, before he shot a J, before he did anything, Michael Jordan already had 4 damn rings. And Shannon Sharp asking him that question like he really, really know. You should be ashamed of yourself, Shannon Sharp. You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed of yourself. But it's all right. You think you're going to get away with it. You ain't the only damn person with a YouTube channel and a damn podcast. You ain't going to get away with this, Shay Shay. I'm going to be all over you. All over you. All over you all season long, okay? You ain't going to get away with this. I see you keep asking these people this damn GOAT conversation. They're going to have to get through me. I don't want to hear from some puppy that is Karl Anthony-Towns. He's young. He don't know any better. He wasn't born when MJ was at his height doing damage. You remember that. You remember that. By the way, let me dial it back. Because props needs to go to the Knicks, who hired Patrick Ewing as an ambassador to assist both basketball and business operations. Patrick Ewing is one of the greatest New York Knicks of all time. No, he never delivered the championship. Yes, he did get outplayed in the finals by Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon in 94. Yes, he did miss that finger roll against the Indiana Pacers, and I get all of that. But he is still one of the greatest Knicks of all time, played through injuries, played through pain, was reliable, was a first-class person, first-class citizen. I know he didn't have a lot of success, particularly at the end of his days at Georgetown, coaching that program. But Patrick Ewing will forever be a beloved Knick, and anything you could do to bring him into the fold is something I support. Now let's get to some quick hitters, some NFL quick hitters heading into week 5. Bills versus Texans. We'll start with that because the Bills are heading to Houston to face the Texans. The Bills are coming off tough losses last week to the Ravens, and now quarterback Josh Allen will see his former number 1 wideout Stephon Diggs on the other side with the Texans. To me, it's a revenge game. When Josh Allen came out the other week and was talking about how it's a beautiful environment that we're living in right now, where I'm getting to throw it to a bevy of receivers and I don't have one clamoring for dominance of the football over others, and we don't have those kind of things to be concerned about, that was clearly a veiled shot at Stephon Diggs. And so when you consider the way Stephon Diggs is playing, what he's capable of doing, and how much noise he's capable of making to go against your former team and to remind your former quarterback what the hell you bring to the table, I think it's something he will be incentivized to do. Now, he ain't the number 1 receiver on the Texans. That's Nico Collins. But nevertheless, Stephon Diggs is still a bad brother, as in a good, very good way in terms of his talents. That is the way that it is. I think the Texans might end up winning this game. We'll see what C.J. Stroud and the crew do in Houston, all right? Next up, Ravens head into Cincinnati to face the Bengals. Baltimore managed to get back to 500, beating the aforementioned Bills last week at home. The one thing the Ravens have is running game. It's a running game that travels, led by the one and only Derrick Henry, who, by the way, rushed for 199 yards last week. Week before that, it was 151 yards. Over the last couple of weeks, the man has been running roughshod over everybody. Give love and respect and credit where it's due. I think the running game doesn't go anywhere, but in the same breath, we can't sleep on what the Bengals can do offensively with Joe Burrow, with Jamar Chase and the crew. I personally think the Bengals offense is taking too much heat. The stats and the resume and history has shown that as the season wanes, Joe Burrow gets better and better and better. So we got to remember that. The issue with Cincinnati is not their offense. It's their defense, which is horrible. That's their damn problem. How they going to get that together, I have no idea. Why they're never prepared to play in September and win football games in the first month of the season under Zach Taylor, I have no idea. But I know this much. Their owner is notoriously cheap, and if he wants to spare expenses, rather than holding back on giving Jamar Chase money, he should hold back on keeping and letting Zach Taylor keep his job. If he can't win in the month of November, damn, I ain't paying you to be the head coach for half the damn season. You're supposed to be coaching the whole season. Anyway, let me move on. Next up is the Cleveland Browns. They head to the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., to take on the Commanders, who have the most accurate quarterback so far this season in rookie Jaden Daniels. Y'all might think I'm crazy. I think he's a candidate for league MVP. I really mean that. I think he's a candidate for league MVP. Now, it ain't going to last. Rookie's not getting that award. We understand that. We see the way Josh Allen's been playing. We see the way Brock Purdy has been playing. We see the way Baker Mayfield and Kirk Cousins played last night. We've seen a few things. But Jaden Daniels has completed 82% of his passes. Jaden Daniels last week completed 91% of his passes. The brother is balling. He's running with the football effectively. He's throwing the football effectively. He's picking up on the offense in the National Football League effectively, courtesy of Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach in Arizona, who's now offensive coordinator in the nation's capital, who's really doing a hell of a job. We got to give credit where credit is due. So we're going to do that today. But Jaden Daniels is balling, and I got to give love where it's due when it comes to him. Finally, It's the Cowboys and the Steelers, because we got to talk about this Sunday night matchup between these two teams that are about to face off, all right? Because the Cowboys going on the road, they head to Pittsburgh. I'm rolling with Justin Fields here. I'm rolling with Justin Fields. I'm telling you right now that when I look at Justin Fields and what he brings to the table, I'm saying to myself, yo, Justin Fields, in his first 4 games, best start of his career in terms of completion percentage and passer rating. 71%, 91, 98% respectively. Justin Fields is doing his thing. What the hell is Dak Prescott doing? You want to talk about their passing attack? Fine. They don't have a running game. They don't have much to throw to outside of CeeDee Lamb. And we get all of that. But that's why you got paid $60 million. That's why you got a $240 million contract. You're supposed to offset the deficiencies that are around you. Okay? Micah Parsons ain't going to play. DeMarcus Lawrence ain't going to play. Now, they couldn't stop a cold to begin with. Anybody could run on the Dallas Cowboys before they ran into the Giants last week. You don't have much of a running game. But with these two brothers out, and you going up against Najee Harris and that Cat Warren, and you got Pickens and Freiermuth and these boys to worry about, I expect the Steelers to do their thing. Offensively, I think they should be formidable enough. Defensively, I think they should have a field day with the Dallas Cowboys. This is not a game that the Dallas Cowboys should win. It shouldn't be close. The Steelers will make it close because that's just what they do, trying to give everybody a heart attack. But it shouldn't be close. It really, really shouldn't. Anyway, before I move on out of here for the weekend, let's go to some of your tweets, okay? First up, show me what you got here. At Jaguar Gator 9 NFL writes, Stephen A., in honor of Joker 2 being released today, you get to pick any non-musical movie in the world to make a sequel out of. The catch is that the sequel must be a musical. What movie are you picking? I don't have the slightest damn clue. I don't go to the movies to watch musicals and stuff like that. I mean, I did when I was like 9 years old or something to see Grease. If you want to call that a musical, that's fine because I love me some John Travolta. If you want to consider Pulp Fiction a musical, because there was some dancing in there between Uma Thurman and John Travolta, no doubt about it, because John Travolta, don't sleep on him. I think there should be a sequel to Pulp Fiction. I like that. But I don't know musicals or anything like that. I don't know if I can help you in that regard. So you're going to have to accept that as my answer to that damn question that you would throw at me. I don't understand why you would throw that in my direction, but I'll take it. I'm going to go with Pulp Fiction too, and I'm going to label that first one a musical in a sense. Because you remember when Ving Rhames, I don't know if y'all do this. Griff, don't start laughing. Rashawn, y'all don't start laughing. But do y'all remember that scene? Sherry, you're going to love this. Talking to my producers here. Do y'all remember when Ving Rhames was talking to Bruce Willis and getting him to throw the fight? And they played Al Green. Dun, 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 dun. I'm so in love with you. Remember that? Remember that? Well, when that happened, remember, Ving Rhames was talking over the music while it was playing. And the minute it started, he said, I think you're going to find when all of this is over and done, I think you're going to find yourself one smiling motherfucker. Thing is, Butch, you got ability, but ability don't last. And your days are just about over. Now, that's a hard mother effing fact of life. But that's a fact of life your ass gonna have to get realistic about. Oh, that was a bad scene. Tarantino did his thing with that scene. Really, really did. While the music was playing, it was really fly. Never forgot it. That's why I'm saying Pulp Fiction is a musical, even if y'all disagree with me. Next tweet, what you got? At Randy Vision, he writes, Stephen A. Smith, everything is on the line. You taking in Super Smash? Who you taking in Super Smash Brothers? I'm taking Donkey Kong. I'm taking Donkey Kong. Why? I don't have the slightest damn clue, but I'm going with Donkey Kong. It just sounds better. Next tweet, what you got? At OGC, whatever the hell it is. Y'all got to make y'all Twitter handles more conspicuous. Stephen A. Smith, final verdict. What should Bronny call LeBron on the court? 2-3. 2-3. 23. Is in 23. That's what he should call him, 2-3. That's what he should call him. You understand? Or he call him Pops. Pops. That's all. You understand what I'm saying? Because I know you're saying you don't want to be called like that in front of everybody, but he is your daddy. Hell, according to some reports, Golden State was considering taking you, but they wanted to show respect to LeBron. Everybody knows why you're on the Lakers. That's your daddy. You don't call him dad. Pops! Pass him on Pops. Here, Pops! Ain't nothing wrong with that. I think 2-3 better, but ain't nothing wrong with Pops. Ain't nothing wrong with Pops. You know, one of my producers with his corny ass self just tell me to say Capitan. He don't understand this about me. There's only one person that gets the name Capitan, as in El Capitan, and that is the great Derek Jeter, formerly the New York Yankees, my brother. Nobody gets El Capitan but him. Next tweet, what you got? At D Cravate, Stephen A. Smith, if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, which would you pick? Coleslaw, popsicle, or a watermelon ramen bowl? I would tell you the watermelon. That's what I would tell you. That's just me. Out of those 3 selections, I can come up with an abundance of other things that I would pick, but it would be the watermelon based off of those 3 selections, all right? Got to get on out of here for the weekend. Hope y'all enjoyed the show. Thank you again for Van Jones for coming on to the show as well. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's it. I'll holler at y'all. Have a peaceful, beautiful, safe, enjoyable weekend. God bless to everybody. I'll holler at you Monday. Until then, peace and love. It's Stephen A. signing off. I'm out.